Why did 80s personal computers have limited color graphics? Imagine a time when computers were just starting to show off their colors, but the screens still looked a bit blocky and simple. That's because those early personal computers, like the IBM personal computer and Apple Roman II, had some pretty strict limits on how many colors they could display. You might wonder why they couldn't just show all the colors we see today. Well, it all comes down to the technology inside these machines and how they handled graphics. Back in the early 1980s, memory was a big deal. Computers didn't have much of it. Most had only 16,000 or 32,000 bytes of RAM, and some had 64,000 bytes. That's tiny compared to today's gigabytes. This limited memory had to be shared between running programs, storing data, and creating graphics. Every pixel on the screen needed space in memory. For example, a screen resolution of 320 by 200 pixels has 64,000 pixels. If each pixel could be any of 16 colors, you'd need 4 bits, or half a byte, per pixel. That adds up to 32,000 bytes just for the image. If you wanted 256 colors, you'd need a full byte per pixel, which would be 64,000 bytes, more than most computers had. So designers had to make choices. Use fewer colors, lower the resolution, or find clever tricks to make it look better. The hardware inside these computers also played a big role. The IBM personal computer used a graphics card called the color graphics adapter. It could display up to 16 colors but only in certain modes. In the most common mode, which was 320 by 200 pixels, you could only choose 4 colors at a time from a fixed palette. That was because the graphics card only had 16,000 bytes of dedicated video memory. Using more colors would have needed more memory, which wasn't available. The higher resolution mode, which was 640 by 200 pixels, was only black and white to save memory. The Apple Roman II had a different approach. It could display color but in a way that caused some visual quirks. It used a technique called color artifacting, which meant the colors depended on the position of the pixels and how the screen was scanned. You couldn't just pick any color for any pixel. This made programming colorful graphics tricky but also gave the Apple Roman II a unique look. Artists and programmers got creative within these limits, making colorful games and demos that are still loved today. Another factor was the cost and availability of color monitors. Early color screens for the IBM PC were expensive and not easy to find. Many people connected their computers to their TVs using composite video, which limited the color quality and sometimes caused visual artifacts. Some computers could display more colors over composite video, but it was unpredictable and not reliable for serious graphics work. All these limits pushed programmers to be creative. They used simple shapes, bold colors, and clever tricks to create the illusion of detail. Animation was hard because changing colors or moving objects quickly used up memory and processing power. That's why many games from the 1980s look simple and blocky but charming. The limitations weren't just obstacles, they became part of the style and challenge of the era. So, the reason why 1980s personal computers had limited color graphics is mainly because of the small amount of memory, the design of their graphics hardware, and the cost and technology of displays. These restrictions shaped how games and software looked and played. For many, these constraints made the experience more fun and inventive. Every splash of color was a small victory, and that's what makes 80s tech and gadgets so memorable today.